a lot of the government quarters was in fact in a dilapidated state. A lot of them were in fact weren't even habitable, and of course a lot of the assets actually do sit on very prime property or prime locations. In particular, the one over here, just behind us, and in the domain area, which it's quite a much sought after real estate, and obviously government sits on this very expensive real estate, and the idea is to get a return on it. One thing I'd like to highlight before I very quickly finish is that as the Permanent Secretary highlighted, what is really critical, in particular for government quarters that are outside of Suva, that those civil servants who go and live in those quarters, that the quality of those accommodation must be up to scratch. We can show you photographs of various quarters, for example, places like Levuka and various other outlying areas, outlying towns and towns from Suva, where when civil servants were sent to that, you would not even send your relatives there. The conditions were atrocious. And now the conditions of those quarters have improved. It has a huge impact on the morale, I should say, not moral, on the morale of the civil servants themselves. Because, you know, if you have a good place to live and you have a good office to be accommodated in during the day, then obviously your contribution, your productivity will increase. So it is very, very critical. It's very critical to look after those civil servants, in particular those going outside of Suva to remote parts, whether they are nurses, whether they are forest officers, whether they are other civil servants performing their jobs. They need to be accommodated in residences that are fit for human habitation, that are fit for them to be able to have a high productivity output, because the environment they work in, the environment they live in, is actually conducive. So that is very, very critical. The second point I'd like to also mention, of course, I think there's room for improvement in terms of how the renovations have been carried out and what quarters we need to target, and that's one of the areas of focus for the coming year. We will look at sharpening our pencils where we can get probably more private sector participation in this area, because it is through the move towards a commercial view, a commercial running of government, in particular some operational aspects of government, that we will be able to get better output, that we'll be able to get better revenue generated for the Fijian people. Because ultimately any revenue that's generated for the government is revenue generated for the Fijian people. So that really, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, the whole operation of the TMA is concerned, and we'd like to thank the team for their hard work. We look forward to working together with them to improving it, and we'll continue to ensure that the accommodation, whether it's office, whether it's residences for civil servants, continues to improve. Munaka, thank you.
It is a privilege for me to welcome you all this morning here for the presentation of the 2014 surplus funds from the government quarters TMA to the Ministry of Finance. And in this particular instance, special and a very warm welcome to our Honourable Minister, who is also our line minister for the public service. Thank you, sir, for making your time available to be here this morning with us amidst your very busy schedule. The government quarters TMA has been operating since 2011. It is one of the initiatives or reform initiatives of the Bainimarama government, and now reinforced by the Fiji First government. Essentially, under this, there is centralization of role for the looking after of government quarters into one body. Previously, this function was spread around a number of agencies, including Finance, PSC, Lands Department, as well as PWD. Now all this is centralized into PSC, and as a result we are able to take a better stock of what is available in terms of government quarters. We have as many as 2,500 government housing and quarters spread throughout Fiji and managed through here. Rent from these quarters ranges as low as a couple of $100 in the case of subsidized rental to eligible civil servants, and then we come to those which are surplus quarters, and that we rent it out to outside residents, again at a very reasonable rent of around $1,000 to $2,000 per month. Given the reforms undertaken, everybody is charged a standardized rate. When I say everybody, these are the eligible public servants. We determine their eligibility for housing, and they pay a subsidized rental of 8% of their salary for occupying a government quarters. So there is a criteria as to who can occupy that, and in anything surplus to that gets rented out to outside private residents. And that largely is the case here only in Suva, because we have got surplus quarters here in Suva. The rental proceeds, together with those the civil servants pay, and the market rental averages around $230,000 to $240,000 per month, and that accumulates quite a fair bit over the year. The PSC pursues a programmed phase of maintenance on all these quarters, including those in the rural and outer areas, and we are very thankful for the Ministry of Finance and the Minister for Finance for giving us the flexibility to undertake those repairs and maintenance, because these are quarters spread all around Fiji, and in some places it is very difficult to send private contractors to go and maintain them. But we do maintain flexibility to see how best those repairs get undertaken. As I mentioned, the Ministry of Finance, as part of the reforms, has allowed PSC to operate a TMA, which is a trade and manufacturing account, with a ceiling of $500,000 for retention. So we are allowed to keep $500,000 to start work for the following year, and then the rest gets remitted into the consolidated fund. In 2012, when we started this, the remittance amount was 2.1 million. In 2013, because we took a bit more of work on repairs and maintenance, the remittance amount was 482,000, and last year it was 1.1 million presented to the Ministry of Finance. For the 2014 year, the total revenue collected total a little more than 4.2 million, with the $500,000 retention, plus all that spent on renovations and maintenance. We are pleased today we will be presenting a check to the Honourable Minister for Finance in the sum of just over 1.14 million, being the surplus funds to go into the consolidated fund for the year ending 2014. All in all, if you look at the 4 years this program has underway, or this reform program has been underway, we have paid into the consolidated fund in excess of $4.8 million in surplus funds. So that is a good achievement, despite, of course, a lot of money having gone into repairs and maintenance of government quarters. Apart from maintaining the asset value through an aggressive program of repairs and maintenance, the government is concerned about the welfare of public servants. So a large part of focus is on ensuring that the civil servants who occupy these quarters are comfortable and are well looked after. It is therefore my pleasure now to present to the Honourable Minister for Finance a cheque in the sum of just over 1.14 million, being surplus funds for last year's performance of the government quarters TMA. Minister Say, if you kindly could accept this cheque.
Thank you. Big one. Thank you.